New York's financial leaders are set to meet with Mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani, and many say they're willing to work with him. President Trump, meanwhile, says he's torn.
I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. For 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism or the concept of communism has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington, because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed.
All right, Michael, if you were one of those titans in the room with Mamdani, what would you want to make sure you said to him?
Oh. Well, look.
That you can say on air, my friend.
You know, I can only imagine these power broker conversations going on right now. And I just, you know, the shock and the most vocal, visible shock titan that this is happening is obviously Bill Ackman. Okay. And what it is these people that are up in arms about this are responsible for it. Okay, they're 100%. They've gone along with every left-wing cause. When your underlying political philosophy is a weather vane, right, and you're just trying to make yourself seem virtuous and virtue signaling at every single news cycle and everything that happens about, oh, whether it's BLM or the Southern Poverty Law Center or it's this or it's that. And then it all leads to communism, because that's where the left roads lead to. Like, and now we're here, and instead of saying, hey, you know, I actually need to stand for something, let's try to make things, let's have an underlying political philosophy, not just let's sell out anyone and everything just to make a dollar and act like we're these great people because we give to all these nonsense causes. So it's, I would love, I don't know what I would say, but I really would love to be a fly on the wall in that meeting, especially Jamie Dimon, given how much money he just spent building. And for the viewers that don't know, they just built like 4 or 5 buildings right in a small radius to get all their workforce in a really close proximity in the center of Manhattan. Jamie Dimon is very long Manhattan. So yeah, that's gonna be a doozy.
So are they going to roll over and play dead on this, basically, and just try to minimize the pain rather than maximize changing his mind?
I don't think so. And I look at this a little bit differently. I do think Ackman's an important part of the story, but he has been so active in denouncing anti-Semitism, and he's been vocal about things that he doesn't agree with. Now, he's being ripped by the other businessmen for congratulating Mamdani on his win. And he said this: congratulations on the win. Now you have a big responsibility. If I can help NYC, just let me know what I can do. And I don't disagree with that. We are in this boat and we are in it together. The electorate has spoken and the new mayor will be inaugurated. Kevin O'Leary has sat behind this desk and said he's wanted to reach out to him and talk to him, but that the other side wasn't responsive to him. But I think business leaders in the community have a responsibility to say, this is what we were dealt, and we need to deal with it in the best way possible to make sure that the rest of the capital that's left here doesn't fly the coop, because the only thing that hurts is the city. Now, I hope the mayor-elect will be open to their suggestions, open to listening and talking, because he wasn't to Kevin O'Leary, and that somehow this can come full circle in a different way.
Let me just throw another ingredient in the stew here. So Bernie Sanders has come out and said Mamdani's win is the evidence that the leftward move of his candidacy should mean the leftward move of the party, because it means the leftward move of America. Watch this.
What is the risk for the midterms next year if the party leadership does not embrace this flank of the party?
Well, the party leadership did not support Mamdani in New York, and he won. So I think it is, you know, I think there is a growing understanding that leadership and defending the status quo and the inequalities that exist in America is not where the American people are.
Get on the socialist train, Taylor.
Thanks for that one. I don't think this works on a broad scale. I think we've all talked that the voters in New York City are very, very left. And this is, Jackie, to your point, a lot of the right people left. And so what you're left is an electorate that is grossly to the left of the median person in America. I choose to believe that we are more alike than we are different, and that this New York City does not have national repercussions. That said, let me think how to phrase this. I agree with President Trump. I want him to succeed because this is my home. And I always want to wish electors or leaders the best because this is our country and this is our place. My worry, though, is that, as we talked about yesterday, if he gets a few of these little successes, people are going to think that this experiment works. So the other part of me wants to root for a mass implosion. You got to burn this city down so people are crystal clear that socialism and communism is not the right answer, and we can get back to focusing on what is the right solution. That being said, I don't like burning cities, and I don't want to burn my city down.
Well, the one you live in especially.
But if he's smart, he'll play it the first way you described it, because then you get more people on board where you can convince them that, see, I'm not so bad, this is working.
I don't think Mamdani has operated anything more complex probably than like a blender. So running this city and doing it successfully, to me, seems like a very hard thing for him. And he also doesn't seem like the kind of person who's going to surround himself with operationally excellent people. But maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, Lena Khan is on his
transition team.
I saw her picture on the picture. That'll be great for businesses in New York City. She's very pro-capitalism.
She single-handedly turned Silicon Valley to President Trump. People in the Valley, because she was in the way of mergers and liquidity events for venture capitalists, they voted for, that was one of the big things that moved them toward President Trump. She is a business crusher. So well done, Zohran. So Zohran, at age, 34? Mayor, has really no power as the mayor of New York City to raise revenue, but he does have in his power to do something irretrievably stupid that makes people leave, like not fighting crime, telling the chief of police, along with the DA, to, back off, to allowing dangerous schizophrenics to fill our streets.
And buses.
Right, for free. So he could quickly turn this into Portland, and that would drive revenue away. Also, which then begins the downward spiral, where you start driving individuals out, but also businesses out. And what happens quickly is when tourists don't show up, and you start losing tourism revenue. Also, that we are due for a major kind of sell-off in terms of not just today in the markets, but a downturn on Wall Street. If you go back and look in 2009, I think that the budget revenue, non-property tax revenue, fell by $4 billion back in fiscal year 2009. You're looking at potentially, if you had a bad blow up in the financial markets and in the economy, him being 10% short of what the city currently spends now. When your plans are only to spend more, you got to cut 10%, but you're the man for all the people who were suckling at the teat of government. Where are you going to come up with that?
Well, your tax on the millionaires.
I know.
Oh,
you're welcome.
Millionaires is probably going to go a little further down than the millionaires.
If he can get it passed. But I think Bernie Sanders is 100% correct. If you look at, we're going back almost a decade here, if it wasn't for the powers that be in the Democrat Party, that basically stole the primary from him in 2016 and in 2020, he would have been the nominee twice. So the Republicans had Trump come through. He's our right-wing populist. Okay, left-wing populism is here. Populism is here. Okay, the problem with left-wing populism is it takes all of us in this room, sitting at this desk, lines up against the wall, and gets a shot in the head, right? That's where we know where left-wing populism leads us. But it's here. There were a lot of voters that voted for Trump, that voted for Mamdani, because he was the only candidate talking about how unaffordable life is for those that are not in this top 1, 2, 3% of income earners. And if you, and that's the same thing that happened in New Jersey. It's the same thing that happened in Virginia. This populism, these dinner table items are here. They are here to stay. And this left-wing populism is devastating. But we have an administration, who I am a huge fan of, that's gallivanting all over the world, solving the world's problems, while inflation here remains a problem. And so we can reverse course for the midterms, and you can head this off at the pass if the federal government, meaning the Trump administration, refocuses all of its energy and works on the cost of living and the other problems at home, and we won't have Mamdanis. You can blunt left-wing populism by winning with right-wing populism, and there's a lot of Republicans that need to get on board with that.
Quick exit poll question. How many weeks before Mamdani completely throws Hochul under the bus and starts blaming her for the city's problems, especially when he runs out of money? Do you give it a month? I think she is going to, I think his TikTok cannon is going to turn right to her really quickly when things start going badly.
Interesting.
But we shall see.